Okay, gonna try and make this really quick today. Got a lot to cover. It is September 30th. Our weather is going to make a pinching motion. So this hurricane is going to hold the system off that's to our west a little bit. I'm sorry, Minnesota and Wisconsin, you are going to be under partly cloudy skies. For once, you drew the short straw. Michigan, for once, you drew the perfect pick. It is going to be clear skies for the most part, and you have no ash and smoke, and it is going to be perfect viewing for you. Yay! That being said, let's jump over here to solar flares. And we have had an M-class flare overnight, followed by a whole bunch of C-class flares, and we've just had a C7.8 flare, nearly another M-class flare. And let's look at our sunspots. Our sunspot regions are coming here. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to use your imagination here. We have 31.7 over here. He's still 40% chance of creating something, but he's dying off. 10 is reformatting. It has become a beta gamma class, and he is barely able to create anything right now and not really a major player. 31.11 and never developed and is not able to do much of anything, and maybe has maybe a 5% chance of doing anything. And our story over here is I think we have something over here that once it rotates through, they're going to get a good view of this, and it will become a named sunspot. I think there is something here that's producing all the energy, and this is where all our flaring activity is coming from. Now, we have some magnetic regions down here where all the ropes are coming from. And we have a big horseshoe sitting down here. We have some late tail end coronal holes. There's one here, and there's the tail end right here. They are rotating into view today. And those are what's going to keep us on going. So, knowing that this is hitting today, so that means in 3 days, so today's the 30th, first, second, third, we're going to look for that to hit on the 3rd. So those tail end coronal hole streams are coming on the 3rd. This is going to rotate through, and it may be sitting right here on the 3rd. And if it's still producing the flares it is, it's going to be more in position to give more of a shove to that coronal hole wind stream. So I'm going to predict, if it's still flaring like it is right now, producing those big flares, as it rotates into view, and we still have that coronal hole stream on the 3rd, I would look for some bigger snow shovel events where that fast wind stream catches up with that slow coronal hole stream and gives it a shove. So it is not done. I think this will continue for a few more days beyond what it's warned for. So let's pop over, give you a visual. Okay, so here's our northern coronal hole stream, the mid-latitude coronal hole stream that is just Earth facing today. That wind streams are going to hit us on the 3rd. They aren't going to be much. They're going to be much weaker than what is right now, but they're still going to have something. And this should be rotated to about here by that time. And if it's still shooting off, we're going to start getting grazed with that activity. Still keeping an eye down here, we've got this tremendous horseshoe down here that is lifting right up off the sun. And if that lifts much farther, it may pop off. It is just big. It's a horseshoe limb right here. This is way up off the sun. If that comes up far enough, it will break off and lift off. And it is got a little crackling here and a little movement. It has a possibility. If some energy shoots down and travels down, it'll destabilize it. It will go. Okay, so covering our CMEs, They have pulled this down and changed it 3 times. I swear they change their minds more than a hormonal pregnant woman. Now they're down to the CME happened at noon. It was a full halo. It's still the same CME cactus I showed you. They've just changed the timeline on it. It may hit during the day or in the early morning hours on the 1st. They're still really hazy. NOAA has picked up their prediction a little bit that we're going to get a little bit stronger hit. NOAA's emerald spiral hasn't changed at all. Looking at the predictions, Michigan or Great Lakes region, North America, we're going to get hit right about dark, and it's going to be ongoing right on through noon on Sunday. And then it will dissipate during some of the during the day on Sunday, and then it will re-pick up Sunday night. Now, my Australian people, you're going to get some good views, I think, during your nighttime hours. I need one of my Australian people to call me using Facebook Messenger. We need to figure out how your timeline fits with my timeline so I can do more accurate predictions for you as well as Michigan. We did get a bump up over the night. I'm going to pop down here. We had a rapid density intensification from one of our CMEs, and then we had a velocity pickup of the wind. So we did get something in the overnight hours, but it was just a precursor from one of those small CMEs. Now, looking at the LASCO 3, and I'm going to kind of toggle this, and I'm going to go back. Here's our CME on the 29th, and you could see it's kind of a 3/4 halo, a little bit. They're calling it a full halo. But as I come over here on the 30th, you can see this is going to be full halo. We're getting a full halo hit. You can see it coming, and it's full halo. So whatever we've had hit us now is going to be a full halo hit from today's flaring. So I expect that to be a fairly good size hit. Okay. Jumping over. Where can you go? Note, in Sleeping Bear Park, Esh Beach Road is closed for road repairs. You need to detour down to Lake Michigan Avenue. Lake Michigan Avenue is right at the Platte River Road Bridge on the north side, right next to the river canoe rental. There's a riverside canoe rental on the south side, the Platte River, and then on the north side is Lake Michigan Road. It'll take you right down to the end of Platte River, and you can walk in around the tip into Esh Road Beach. There's a beach that goes for miles there, and we can literally fit hundreds of people there. That is the best place to go. The pictures you will get from there are going to be fabulous. That's a good place to go. Good Harbor is up at the north end of the park before you get to Leelanau. And you are going, or like, before you get to Fishtown, you're going to be looking for Bohemian Road. And you're going to come to a line of pine trees. Behind the pine trees, there's a white barn that says Leland. And then you'll come to a white house, and the white house marks the corner for Bohemian Road. And across the road, there is a little rustic barn. It's not a barn, it's like a house. Shed type thing. Bohemian Road, as you go in, you're going to come to a crossroads where there's gravel roads going each way. Go to your left, there's going to be little tip outs where you can park your car, and little paths that go into the woods. You go down those paths, they'll take you right out on the beach. Each path is groomed and free from hazards to walk. and it'll take you right down to the beach. You'll have fabulous views. No worry of car lights hitting you. It will be nice. Beautiful views right there. Absolutely fantastic beach. Use these areas. They are underutilized, and it will be a better place to view than cramming into Glen Haven. Glen Haven, people that are trying to cram in there, you want to note, there is going to be park service and sheriffs going through there. So if you're parking where you're not supposed to, you just might get a ticket. On the west side of the cannery is handicap parking. We have handicapped people that need that parking space, that have mobility issues, that need to use that parking space to get to the safe parking or the safe viewing that is for them. Please don't park there. Please don't take up their space and deny them the right to have a safe place to get to see the auroras. We have at the other end, down from the cannery, the Coast Guard station. There is a gravel driveway up to sidewalks that go all the way out to the beach. That is got a parking area that'll hold 20, 30 cars back there. And it is the best place for photographers to go because you don't have to worry about car lights hitting you. And you can use the Coast Guard station for photography. It's a great little location, and you're down closer to Manitou Islands, and you might even get a freighter going through. It's a beautiful spot. Utilize it. Make sure you have backup locations if your location is full. In Mackinac, you have Wilderness State Park. You have a roadside park on the east side of town, just outside of town. Use them for backup locations in case the Dark Sky Park is closed. On the east side, you have Sheboygan has some good spots. You have Rockport Recreation Area, Thompson Harbor State Park, Newagon State Park. You've got Headlands in Mackinac that has some viewing if you drive through there. Please note, if you want to photograph this barn, park on the same side as the barn. Do not park across the road. And this barn is private property. Do not go in the fence line. This guy is very offended when people sell pictures of his barn. I've talked to him. It's really irking him how photographed this barn is, and seeing people sell pictures of his barn. All right. Up north, you have Point Iroquois Lighthouse. You have Whitefish Point. You have Tequamanon Falls. I don't know if you'll get auroras there, but you can get dark skies there. You've got all sorts of little roadside pullouts on the way to Paradise. You got Graze area. You should be able to see northern lights there. You've got areas along Munising all the way to Marquette. You've got Carper Harbor. There is no reason that we should all pack in. A suggestion, some of you might that like casinos and want to visit the casino at Bay Mills, you might want to call Bay Mills, the tribe, and ask if they have a dark sky area that you might utilize if you're visiting their casino and staying at their facilities there. They may have something. You've got pictured rocks at Munising that you can photograph from. You have those of you that can get into it. You've got Isle Royale National Park, Whitefish, Tequamanon. I don't know, as inland, you can check. Inland Seas may have a cruise doing dark sky cruises. Be pretty hard to do a photograph of the auroras on a boat, but you might get something. There in the thumb area, there is Port Crescent and Port Austin, Dark Sky Park. There is Lake Hudson. I think that is down by Detroit area. That has a dark sky park. And it is closer to the Ohio border, and it is worth a look if you want to, because if we get a KP6, KP7, it should be, you might have a shot at getting it closer to the Ohio border, and Lake Hudson is worth the run if you're in Ohio and you don't want to travel far, and you know it might hit, and it is entirely possible that we might see another KP7, KP8 like we had earlier this week. It's just a rogue storm that they're not expecting, that is, you know, a fast wind speed snow shovel event. We have a flare picking up a coronal hole stream and moving it faster. It's entirely possible that it will happen during this run of auroras, that we have much bigger auroras than it's expected. We've had a lot of flares and a lot of CMEs over the last 3 or 4 days. It's entirely possible that can happen. So don't rule out that you have to run all the way up north to see the auroras. You might be able to stay back in Ludington at the thumb areas and some of the lower areas and still see auroras. You might be able to hit the Lake Hudson area and still see auroras. Don't rule it out and think you have to run if you're on a limited budget or you don't have the time. Check these areas out and try it. Remember, while you're out here, safety first. Don't park on both sides of the road. Stick to your appropriate parking areas. If an area is full, move on to the next one. Remember, we've got 4,000 Michigan hunters. We've got all these aurora hunters coming from out of state. Plus, we've got everybody that just wants to see auroras. It's going to get crowded. Remember to be generous. Photographers, if somebody asks to see the back of your camera, share your experience with them. It makes it more fun. A shared experience is always more enjoyable. Answer questions. Be generous with your knowledge. Everyone share the flashlight rules. Don't use a red light around photographers. You can't get red out of a picture. And when you use red lights around a photographer, you ruin their photographs. Get a small pen light from the dollar store. Put it on one of those little coiled bungee bracelets. Clip it to that bracelet. Wear it on your wrist so you can just pull it out, turn it on when you need to use your camera or you need to walk away from an area with a photographer. And aim it straight at the ground. Never put a flashlight in somebody's face. It blinds them. Don't do it. Remember to call when you need to turn on a flashlight. Call out. Give photographers around you 20 seconds to close their shutters. Remember, there's no I in team. We're all going to be out here with everybody else. We need to work together as a team and be considerate of other people. We work together. It makes it fun for everybody. And everybody has a good time. If you meet people in the dark, let them join you. It makes it more enjoyable. I've had more fun meeting all of you out there in the dark. And it's made my experiences so much better with all the people that I've met and the friends I've made over the years meeting people in the dark. And each of you are special and more rewarding. And I treasure each one of you as much as I treasure those pictures of the auroras. So please, work together, make friends, have fun. It will be more rewarding than you can imagine. Now, please share this video with everybody you know so these rules get out to everybody. So that the people that don't know hear these suggestions of safety. Don't cross the road in the dark. People have been killed doing this. Don't sit on the side of the road to view the auroras. If you park on the side of the road, go to a location off the road to view the auroras. Walk out in a field, walk out to a beach. Don't stay by your car. That's a good way to get hit and killed. We don't want that to happen. Go to a hardware, go to a lumber store, grab a reflective vest and wear it so cars can see you in the dark. If you don't do that, wear something white. Wear something really bright and reflective so people can see you in the dark. It will save your life if you're near a road or in a parking lot so people can see you. I don't want anybody else killed. It happened a few years ago and it was tragic. Not just for the people that died and their families, but for the lady that hit them who has to live with that for the rest of her life. And I guarantee it's traumatized her. And I don't worry so much about all of my Aurora hunters that are experienced. What I worry about is the people that don't know, that haven't been taught yet, that you guys need to share the videos with, that walk out behind you because they don't know any better. Or they park where they shouldn't because they don't know any better, and one of you end up hitting them. And it affects you because they didn't know any better. So it's your responsibility to share these videos and educate everyone you know so that the word gets around to how we prevent accidents in the dark. How we change those behaviors so nobody gets hurt. And nobody has to live with someone getting accidentally hurting somebody else and that having to be on somebody's conscience forever. Because I guarantee it's going to scar you. So please share the videos. I'm going to leave you there. Everybody get some rest this afternoon. Take a nap if you can. You know, take turns driving so somebody's getting a nap if you can. Get rested. Nap tomorrow. Don't burn yourselves out. Lots of vitamins, lots of hydration. Remember, if you're on these lake shores, you're going to dry out faster. Drink lots and lots of water during the day. Hydrate yourselves really well. Remember to dress in layers because you're going to be 10 degrees colder on a shoreline tonight. So it may be 50 degrees, but it's going to feel like 30 or 40. So don't feel stupid about pulling out winter boots and heavier clothing. It's going to get cold. So, and if you're going to make a fire, take a bucket. Do not bury the fire. Dump water on it, spread the ashes, and then dump water on it again till you see no embers. Don't bury fires. When the fires get buried, they shift. The sand will shift, and as the fire burns underneath the sand, and then it opens up and gets oxygen, and the fire comes back to life, and it continues to burn. It's not put out. You have to douse it with water. And I have lost count of the fires I put out at night. So put out your fires appropriately. We don't want to cause any wildfires in Michigan or Wisconsin or Minnesota or anywhere else. We have enough of those burning. We don't want more. All right. Have a good time this weekend. I will be in Empire on Saturday night. And it is $25 if I need to coach you. So if you walk up and say, Peggy Sue, I'm here for a lesson, you know, it's $25 if I have to give up my enjoyment time for that. I will have Karina with me this weekend. I'm so excited about that. And for those of you that meet up with me, Karina's going to be with me. And she is just one of the most fabulous ladies I've ever met. And she has the heart of gold. And I'm really sad because Julie's not joining us. And she's my other wingman that, Julie, you're a bad girl. And Ashley's meeting up with us. We're going to have an absolutely fabulous time this weekend. So everybody, rock on, be generous, reach out to those around you, get to know each other, it will be a rewarding experience, and you will make friends that you will enrich your lives and be just as valuable and as important as the pictures you take. Have a good time.